So welcome to a presentation of Freedom. Freedom is an online revolutionary investment platform. There are many people who have an interest in making their money grow rather than just sitting on a bank account. But when introduced to the financial market, there are so many different options to choose between, many ways to lose your money. What should you invest in, where, when, how, and with what, and from where or whom should you get your counseling, etc. It can sometimes be quite difficult to navigate around. But Freedom has a solution for that. They've designed a platform that makes life easy, simple, automated, and profitable for any type of investor. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I do expect it not to take more than 25, maybe 30 minutes. I will try to do it as fast as possible. And I will shortly introduce you to the company, their vision, and the team behind, and also the concept itself. What is it all about and how does it work? And also the different investment products you can choose between and how they are protected. And last but not least, a bit about the very high level of transparency that Freedom as a company is offering their investors. So after the presentation, there's going to be a short break, 4 to 5 minutes, and then I'm going to afterwards make a short presentation of Freedom's so-called affiliate program for those that might be interested in hearing about that as well. So before we start, there's of course, as there should be, a disclaimer. You're welcome to take a screenshot if you want to. I'm just going to, let's say, mention a few things. First of all, I'm not a financial advisor, and this presentation is merely for informational purposes. When you log into the Freedom platform, back office, etc., that's also not supposed to be financial advice, but opportunity and investment options. You decide, of course, for yourself how and what you want to invest in. And again, even though this platform is a very powerful platform, which you're going to see very soon, with tremendous track records, past returns is a good indicator, but not a guarantee of future returns. And as with any investments, of course, people should not invest their entire family's life savings on one investment plan. Should, of course, spread your risk out and generally speaking, of course, always use common sense. That's it for the disclaimer. Take a screenshot if you want to. So basically, investment should be for everyone. But everyone also knows that the really good investments is often only for the few, the ones with the much bigger budgets and the right contacts. But with the Freedom platform, their vision was to develop a platform that offers everyone a safe and easy way to invest, but with same opportunity as professional investors and without any need of investment experience at all. And also, it should be easy to establish an investment and not take more than typically maximum 20 minutes. And then, like many other, let's say, trading platforms or investment companies around in the world, there should also be a good affiliate program attached to it for those who would like to do more than just their own investments. And Freedom has a great affiliate program attached to it. Good. So, Freedom as a company is a software developer. They develop software solutions to the financial market. They have their head office based in Dubai, in the so-called Dubai International Financial Center, as we see here in the picture. And Dubai is announced as the capital of the world for blockchain and crypto technology, and is kind of a window to the brand new digital financial world. And that makes Dubai as a city highly attractive for a lot of investment companies to have a department in. And that is also the case for Freedom. So besides the head office in Dubai, Freedom also have a two-story building in Pakistan, which holds their development department. Right now, there are more than 60 highly skilled people working down there. This is where all the programming and development goes on. Everything from artificial intelligence, algorithms which are making the trade for their investors, home pages, back office, marketing materials, everything is being made here from scratch. That gives a lot of security and safety for the customers because there's no dependency on third part programming, etc. And they can optimize and change all the time with a very fast pace. Then they also have an international sales office, which is located in Denmark. And this is actually where it all began, because the people behind the company are a purely Danish team. And they bring with them to the global financial market the Danish level of integrity and high moral and inspiration from Danish law. Unfortunately, the financial market is full of trading companies and also brokers operating in the so-called gray zone, um, manipulating price, adding different, let's say, more seconds in order to be able to double trade also against their own customers, etc. There's a lot of things going on in this market, and unfortunately, these activities, which are common, gives the market a bad reputation. Freedom is a new company, and therefore it's very important for them to make sure from the beginning that they operate with the high standards. Everything, all registrations, all licenses, all documentation and compliance is public available on their website, and they have a very high focus on these things. So let's take a short look at the people behind. Here are the founder and the three co-founders. The founder and the CEO of the company, Dennis Rode, is a Danish businessman. He's been involved in many different projects and companies in Denmark, and is probably most well known for the company ComX, which was sold for hundreds of millions of Danish kroner. And that was a company that designed and produced these so-called fiber boxes that many Danes have in their homes, receiving internet and TV signals through. Dennis has recently decided to buy himself out of all other projects and companies in order to focus 100% on the Freedom platform. Then we have Christian, which is the company's COO, head of compliance, and his department is, let's say, responsible for all the legal matters. And of course, when operating in a global financial market, there are a lot of things to let's say, make sure it is compliant. Um, and this is what his department is dealing with. Of course, just the KYC process of all investors all over the world are different. There are different types of IDs, etc., to be registered. But nevertheless, all those rules have to be fulfilled 100%. This is their major goal, to make sure that the name is well known with trust and compliance. So this is what Christian's department is dealing with. Then we have Thomas, which is the CFO, the head of finance. And his department, of course, is responsible for the finances in the company. As you see on the last name, those two could be related, and they actually are related. They are, in fact, brothers. And they have been working before in Denmark in the Danish construction industry with similar, let's say, jobs. And now they're working together again with the Freedom. Then we have Aftab, and Aftab is the CTO, the head of technology of the company, and he has a lot of experience with him in counseling companies on artificial intelligence and algorithms, and he's the ones who are mainly responsible for the development department in Pakistan. That was a bit about the company, the people behind the company. Let's take a look at investors. So, typical traditional investors, they do invest in their spare time. They spend time on trying to find the right things to invest in, and this can sometimes be difficult. They want to have the good return, but with the good return, you need to have the, let's say, the big wallet up. So it's all about finding the right places to invest. Many times they just decide to maybe try out something in the crypto market, or they go to their bank to get some stocks. But basically, they do have to, of course, spend some time on the different, if they're doing it themselves, they have to spend time on the different companies they are trying to invest in, at least do some analysis about what are these companies doing and what could be the future for them, etc. But they will spend time, and the common denominator for this segment is actually lack of education and experience. If you compare with the professional investors, the so-called pro traders, well, the common denominator here is actually the opposite. They are typically highly educated, coming from the banking industry, or at least are spending years of education before starting out as a professional trader. They do this for a living. It's a full-time job for them, and they spend hours and hours and hours in front of their computers, and they don't have one monitor, they have many monitors, watching so-called technical analysis, looking at different indicators, trying to find signs that could indicate that now we're going to have a dramatic change of price in the market, so they can actually place a trade at the right time, at the right moment, with the right, let's say, product. And these things happen all the time, and it's highly technical, and it takes many years to actually learn to spot these so-called signs. They also spend a lot of time with so-called fundamental analysis, which is based on market information. So they have many different sources that provide market information. And they could be things like a war that starts, it could be a natural disaster, it could be a president that are giving a speech with new policies, it could also be a quarterly or half-yearly review from big corporations, all things that could have an impact on the global financial markets. They need to know these things, need to be updated all the time. So this is a full-time job, and when they leave their computers in their office, it's not like they're really leaving. They actually bring their laptops and their tablets and their smartphones and still keep an eye on what actually goes on. And when one stock exchange is closing down in one market, another one is opening up in another market. So it's a full-time 24/7 job at least. So they spend a lot of time, and it can also sometimes be quite stressful. If you want to become a professional trader, of course, besides the education needed, you also need to have a substantial amount of start capital. You need, first of all, proper equipment, but you also need to be able to have a buffer big enough to be able to, on a regular basis, place several in a row losing trades and still be able to come back and reverse the situation in order to come back in the money or with green numbers, so to say. So you need to have a relatively large buffer of budget to play with in order to be able to be a professional trader and do this for a living. And sometimes the market is fantastic, you earn a lot of money, and even though sometimes the market condition is perfect, and you have the price perfect to sell a big, large portfolio of assets, well, if there's no buyers, no trader in the other end that wants to buy, well, then it doesn't matter much. There's many things also to be aware of as a pro trader. But the common denominator between those two segments is you do need to spend time, you do have a lot of stress, and you do have to spend resources on this. So what is it that Freedom is offering? Well, basically, Freedom offers an opportunity to remove the stress and all the resources and all the time spent. They have a platform that has made life easy, safe, and automated and profitable for any type of investor. So what do you do with Freedom? Well, basically, you need first of all to register as a member. That's completely free. Then you need to open an account with one of Freedom's two chosen, highly regulated and trusted brokers, which are Pepperstone or IC Markets. And then you go back to Freedom, pick an investment product and push the start button, and that's it. So this is how simple it is. And basically, of course, after that, you can relax and watch your investment grow. So one thing here that's very important to understand is that Freedom really do stand out in the market. There's a lot of brokers, a lot of trading platforms in the market that are manipulating price, adding in a few seconds in order to delay the trade so they can actually double trade and trade against their own customers. This happens all the time, and it completely removes all types of trust. Freedom does not do that. And the two brokers that Freedom works with, which are market leading and highly regulated brokers with very high integrity, do not speculate against their own customers. And Freedom has designed this model in order to make sure that there's no way they can cheat their customers. They have placed a program between them and their customers. So they, unlike pretty much anyone else out there in the market, they do not hold the customer's money. So they cannot, if the CEO gets greedy, he cannot run away with the customer's money, or if the company goes bankrupt, it doesn't have any impact on the customer's money because they are safely placed on the customer's own private account with one of the two brokers, IC Market or Pepperstone. Another thing is that Pepperstone and IC Market do not speculate against their customers or do price manipulation. But if they did, it wouldn't change much anyway because Freedom is not using their prices. They collect their own prices directly from the stock exchange, and that's what they are sending out through signals to the brokers. So Freedom cannot withdraw any funding from your account, they cannot submit any funding to your account. The only thing they can do is actually send signals to your account on what to invest in and with how much and how and with what, so to speak. And that's all based on the product we have decided to choose from Freedom's platform. So this is, has to be very clear, this is quite unique and really stands out and creates lots of safety for the customers, which is important as well as Freedom is still a new company. Good. So the trust is all that matters for freedom. And one thing that really emphasizes this is their market-leading transparency. Most, if not all, trading platforms in the market are not in any particularly very transparent. This is not what you normally get. With freedom, everything is transparent. You can see everything that goes on. You can see any trade, anything that goes on directly in your back office. And then you can go to the broker and you can see the same trade going on over there, and you can see it's exactly the same. There are no delays, there's no manipulation, no anything. It is as secure as it can get. You can see everything that goes on, and you get a lot of inside information from the company every week, all the time. They are very open-minded about everything that goes on behind the scene, both good and bad. And that, again, is their, let's say, plan of making sure that trust is the key factor here. Good. So, but how does this actually work? This can be a bit technical, but it has to be very important to understand it. You don't need to understand this as an investor. This is just because this setup I'm going to show now is very powerful, it's very unique, and it really stands out, and it creates a lot of safety for the investors. So you need to understand to see it, but the key takeaway is just to understand that this is not standard. This is a very powerful setup. The details are not important. Let's take a look. So Freedom is using a financial instrument, a so-called derivative called CFD, a contract for difference. And rather than, for instance, just buying a stock where you actually buy an asset, and then when the market goes down, you get stomach pain. When the market goes up, you get all happy and might even sell and get a profit. With CFDs, you don't own any assets. If you buy assets and the whole, let's say a lot of assets and the whole company behind goes down the drain, or you really get stomach pain. With the CFDs, you don't own anything. You only buy contracts that speculate in the assets price going up or down. But the good thing about that is that you can actually earn money when the market goes up and when it's down trading as well. And that makes CFDs highly popular. Unfortunately, between 70 and 89% of everyone working with CFDs are losing their money. So why is that? Well, basically, the human factor is the cause. Because humans have emotions, and emotions are not really good for investment. Emotions can be like greed, can be like fear, can be like you can be too passive or too active. And when you have these emotions as a human, you start moving away from the plan. You need to have a plan when working with CFDs, a plan that is completely settled with how much risk you want to take, and how much you want to invest, and where there's maximum and minimum. These kind of things has to be settled. But if you start getting greedy suddenly, if things are going well, you start wanting more, or things are going wild and you get scared, and then you move away from the plan, and that's when you start losing money. So, but there's still many people who are not losing money, who are earning a lot of money. So what do they do? Well, that's typically many of the investment banks. So what they do, they actually get help. They use computers with so-called software programs on algorithms. And algorithms are just software programs that is doing exactly what they are told and nothing else. They do not have any emotions like humans. They do not move away from the plan. And also, this is computer based, and they can actually place thousands of trades at the same time. They can actually place trades much faster than any human can do. This is a very powerful tool, and that's exactly what Freedom is offering their customers. They have not, let's say, algorithms bought on the market like many other companies are doing, and then when suddenly the market changes and are completely volatile, then they don't perform that well suddenly, and you need third-party programming help, all those things. This is not the way with Freedom. Everything is designed and developed in-house. So this is groundbreaking algorithms, but here's the catch. Freedom's algorithms, they are all 24/7 monitored, optimized, trained, regulated by artificial intelligence, AI. Now, this changes the game completely and moves the investment up to a totally new level of trust and also of safety for the customers. AI controls that the algorithms are doing what they're supposed to do, and if they not behave properly, they will educate them. So this is powerful. So basically, if you take a look at the chart on the left, this is how typically an algorithm looks like. It's just a software program that only does what it's programmed to do. But the market can change all the time. So we saw an example when the war started in Ukraine. Many companies that have bought ready-to-use algorithms suddenly had a lot of red numbers. That hurt a lot in many places. With Freedom, there's no impact whatsoever at all because Freedom's algorithms were already reprogrammed by algorithms, sorry, by the AI, even before the news hit. Uh, and this is how powerful this is. AI can, within milliseconds, scan the whole market for thousands of pages of information on what goes on in the market. It can take this chart you see on the right side, and it's a trade ongoing. If you see all this candlelight chart we see here, when all the green ones are when the price are increasing, and all the red ones is when the price is decreasing. And then there's all these lines you can see. These lines are indicators. This is tools, programs that added to it, and they are trying to indicate what the next move will be. So let's say in this exact scenario, AI can take a screenshot and in milliseconds scan thousands of similar situations in the market of previously made trades and find, for instance, the 20 of those trades that looks almost similar to this, and then check out, well, if it was a buy or if it was a sell after this scenario, what happened then? And let's say it tested out of 20, let's say, trades looking exactly like this with the same indicators used, and 15 out of the 20 was a winning trade if it was a buy. Well, in that case, AI suddenly know that in this scenario, you should have a buy. It's been going downwards now for a while. It's going to change and go up. And this information, it can, within milliseconds, reprogram the algorithms in order to change direction. This is power. If you take an example, this is an algorithm running with Freedom. It starts trying to figure out what it should do, and then suddenly it starts taking off. It starts coming with winning trades. And it does that for a while, and suddenly something happens. Suddenly it starts losing trades, and it continues to lose for a while. And now what happens is that AI comes into the picture and quickly finds out what's wrong, scan the whole market for information, look at different algorithms, similar situations in the market, and finding out what's going to happen next, what's the best trade, and it reprograms the algorithms in seconds, and suddenly it's going to be back on track. This is power. This creates safety for all investors, and this is why Freedom is so unique and really stands out. So it's all about, for the Freedom's algorithms, to be designed to always find the best and possible trades, both in up and downtrending markets. And 95% is completely automated and completely monitored by AI all the time. But there's also 5% human intervention by traders who are more or less supervising the whole scenario, making sure that no one algorithm suddenly going crazy and doing weird things. So there is 5% human intervention, but everything else is completely automated. And then everything is also programmed in-house, and it's also tested for at least 12 months before coming out in use officially for the investors. This, let's say, test period of the 12 months creates a track record. And the track records for the last 2 years for Freedom is overwhelming, way higher than what they are promising. But this track record has been used to calculate the return of investments that the products are offering the investors. So no doubt about the trading setup is really powerful. But the engine behind everything is just as important. And Freedom has some of the best technology in the world. Anyone who has tried to be it's a day trader at home for themselves, they know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention a bad internet connection. You placing a trade at the right time, the price is perfect, and suddenly your internet is delayed. There's some kind of screw up an internet connection, and suddenly when your trade is finally going through, the price has halved or even doubled. So this is something that anyone knows. The engine behind it all is highly important. It has to be very safe, very stable, very solid, and extremely fast. So what Freedom is using is Microsoft Azure, which is a giant data center designed to process large amounts of data quick and efficiently. And very importantly, Freedom's setup with Microsoft Azure is directly connected with optic fiber to the stock exchange. This makes all their trading lightning speed fast. So this is crucial when you want to make the right trade at the right time. Lightning speed is what goes on here. That's really important. And then again, they uses, of course, Microsoft Azure has data centers all over the world, but Freedom is using their two centers they have in London and New York because the London and New York stock exchanges are the ones that are most operating with CFDs, which is the financial instrument that Freedom is using. So if you take all those things together, we have state-of-the-art algorithms, and we have AI that monitorizes it and even re-educates it, following all the market trends. And we have some of the most stable and fastest solid technology behind to make sure everything goes and runs as it should. This creates a very powerful setup. But even though this setup is very powerful and you can get with Freedom's products up to 50% or more per year for your investments, very safe and very solid. If it does not have proper investment protection, it doesn't matter much. But Freedom's platform has 27 protection. First of all the algorithms, as mentioned earlier, are programmed in-house from the start. So there's no third, let's say, part programming dependency at all. And that makes it more safe and more flexible and more easy to quickly adapt or change and optimize. And then there's, of course, as there should be, advanced stop loss functions in all trades available. And that case means that you can only lose a certain amount, then it's going to stop with the trade right away. This is let's say the stop lose bar. But the bar on the other end, the take profit bar, so to speak, where you're going to stop earning money, that's being actually increased to be much higher. So you can only lose a certain amount, but you can win much more. So in other ways, if you lose half and you win half, the profit is still not 50-50, it's way higher. And that's a pretty good thing when you're doing investments for customers. Another thing is with the AI supervising everything that goes on all the time, making things lightning fast, and also making sure it's always 2 steps ahead of anyone else in the market when the investments. That gives security and it gives safety for the investors. That gives protection for the products being used. Besides this, Freedom's platform also have intelligent RMP, a risk management platform that is really powerful. So it's all based on the so-called CTE, the Central Trading Engine. And again, this might seem a bit technical. It doesn't matter, and you don't need to understand this. It just has to be mentioned because it's highly unique and really makes the company stand out, and it's highly powerful, and it's very solid and safe for the investors. So we have the Central Trading Engine, which is actually a cloud-based solution. Other companies have that as well. But let's say there's a new thing happening. Let's say a big pharma like Novo Nordisk. Suddenly, there's a new product coming out, and the rumor is coming out, and suddenly there's a big chance that the stock is going to go way up. This information is going to be sent out to all the decentral trading engines we see around here. And all these decentral trading engines is actually all the individual investors. But before hitting them, it goes through a security process, a really groundbreaking security process, a CTF, which stands for Central Trading Framework. This takes only milliseconds, but it is a very powerful setup run by also artificial intelligence. So it starts with, there will be a market analysis, anything in the market right now that's important to be aware of. And then the news events, any news coming up, any announces, any quarterly or half-yearly reviews from big corporations, any nature disaster, anything popping up around right now in the market that might have an impact in the near future. And this is all put together. This is the fundamental analysis. It's all put together in a risk evaluation. Then it moves on to the so-called money management, which is based on what kind of investment product does this individual investor actually has. And then it moves on to the position sizing. And that is, well, how much money does this individual investor actually has on his account to invest? If there's 5 million or if there's $100, that's quite a different scenario. And then it goes on again, and then it collects all these, add all these information together to the final risk reward ratio. And that's being used to, let's say, finalize the risk profile for that specific individual investor with his specific individual product for each specific individual trades. That is powerful, and it all goes on in seconds. And this is actually what really makes Freedom stand out. So let's take a look at what this is actually all about, the products. Now you need to pay attention. Everything before this was just information, and I hope that you don't need to understand it. I hope that you did get the key takeaway that what this platform has is a very powerful setup. But let's look at the fun part. This you need, of course, to pay attention to the product. So Freedom's products, they are operating in 5 different markets: the Forex, crypto, stocks, indices, and commodities markets. And basically, you can get access to Freedom products all over the world. It's a global business. It's available everywhere, with the exception only of these 7 countries: North Korea, Iran, Myanmar, USA, Israel, New Zealand, and Australia. Some of them might be enrolled in a later stage, but right now these countries are not, let's say, available for the Freedom platform and thereby Freedom's product. So Freedom has 2 types of products. They have their standard products and their upgrade products. Let's start to take a look at their standard products. So when you start with your Freedom registration, you get automatically a standard account. It's completely free. That gives you access to Freedom's 3 standard products: the basic platform, or the basic plan, and the advanced plan, and the pro plan. The basic plan will give you an annual expected return of investment on 8%. The minimum investment for that is $200, and the risk profile states 12%. So as you can see, all of them are running for 12 months, and you can see they all have the risk management included, money management, etc., and they are all upgradable to other products as well. Then there's this VPS class in the bottom. VPS class 3 is server capacity, which makes it really fast and functional. So this is the standard products. Let's take a look at the upgrade products. So with upgrade products, you can get access to those by upgrading your account. The standard account is free, but you can upgrade it to a silver account. That will cost a one-time fee. It is really one time only, and that is $300. So basically, with this silver account, you get access to the basic and the advanced and the pro plans in a plus version. So you can see here the basic plan now went from 8 up to 14% in the ROI, so annually expected return. But then the investment also needs to be minimum $300, and the risk profile went from 12 up to 15. The advanced plus product is actually with 20% expected annually return. But then again, the minimum investment is $500, and the risk profile is 30. The Pro Plus is 25% return, and that demands a $1,000 investment input, and the risk profile goes to 40%. I have to say, with this risk profile, this is something that you need by law to mention, and it's basically it means that this is the worst case scenario. So if all, let's say, 10 algorithms are all placing the same trade at the same time and all losing, that never happened and probably never will, but this will be the worst case scenario. In that case, you have an opportunity to lose up to 40% of your invested amount of funding. That's what it actually means. Then you have also opportunity to upgrade to a gold account and a platinum account. And the gold account is $600 and the platinum account is $1,100. So very importantly, of course, this is one-time fees. And if you have already a silver account and you upgrade to a gold account, of course, you should only pay the difference, which in this case will be $300. You should not pay the full amount if you already paid $300 for a silver account. If you see down in the bottom here, you can see the VPS class for Supreme and Elite. Suddenly we are up at VPS class 1, which is the absolute fastest you can get. And for the Pro Plus, it's VPS class 2. This is bigger servers that provides a lot more speed and availability for the customers. And this is highly expensive. This is much, much more expensive than the other VPS classes. So there are extra expenses with the bigger products. And that is why probably also, among other things, the reason that there's a fee to pay. But it's very important when you have these accounts, silver, gold, and platinum, that it's only one time. And that's it. You can always upgrade again, of course. So with the Supreme and Elite, you get access to 40 and even 50+% annual return. And now suddenly we're talking about some highly aggressive products. The minimum investment for the Supreme is $2,000 with a 50% risk profile. The risk profile for Elite is also 50%, but the minimum investment here is $3,000. So for the Supreme and the Elite, there's a possibility to adjust yourself your investment. Let's take a look at how that looks with, for instance, the Supreme product. As you can see here, in the top, there are all the 5 markets: Forex, crypto, stocks, indices, and commodities. This is the same for all the products. And again, as you can see, you can actually unselect some of these markets. That doesn't make sense because, of course, the more markets you have on, the more, let's say, chances of getting good trades and higher profit you have. But for instance, it could be for political or religious or legal matters that you're not allowed to, let's say, yourself personally trade in those markets. For instance, in Pakistan, it's illegal to trade forex. Or also some Muslim areas or Muslim families around the world are not allowed to trade with crypto. So if you have any kind of restriction in that way, you can just unselect that specific market and then you're home free. But if you don't have that, then please all the markets be activated because they will give you better results. So if you look at the Supreme product here, you can see as there should be when others are actually trading for you, there must be, according to law, a start and a stop trade that you yourself can activate or deactivate. So when you start the trade, it goes on. If you stop the trades, then you stop immediately and actually in the middle of a trade. And that is not preferable because you might actually lose money or at least get less out than if you let the algorithms finalize their job. In the end, it will probably provide much better trades. So you will probably lose money by stopping it. But if you want to stop and get the money out now, you can do it. It's not kind of popular, and the company doesn't really want it because it jeopardizes the whole setup. Because this is 12 months products that has been invested. So you will be excluded for a while. You might be able to come back in for a fee, but this is how it is when you stop the trade. You can also do something much smarter. That is to pause the trade. This is a special feature that Freedom has included in their platform. When you pause the trade, it stops investing further, but it will finalize the ongoing trade, which will always make sure, at least almost always make sure that you will get better results out in the end. Good. So here's the thing regarding the adjustability. You see underneath the account balance and the green and the red buttons, there is a risk bar. You can actually change the risk. So if you see this product, and this is with 40% return, this is a highly aggressive product, and you will see some highly, let's say, volatile pricing going up and down with some of these trades. If you get scared, you can actually just reduce the risk and push save, and then it will change right away. So this is kind of one way of adjusting you have an opportunity to do with the Supreme product. If you go to the Elite product, you have a bit more options. It's divided actually in 3 different categories: a high risk, a medium risk, and a low risk. And as an example, as shown here, you could take the amount you want to invest and divide it in 3. And for instance, 10% in the high risk, and 40% in the medium risk, and 50% in the low risk. Have to say here that if you put things on the high risk, this is where you can get 50 plus, and even hundreds, or even more. It's a highly aggressive product, but you can also risk of losing all your money. And there will be a pop-up warning you, stating that first of all, you cannot use more than 30% of your total amount on the risk, on the high risk, let's say, setting, because that is highly aggressive. And also, you will be warned that with this setup, you might be able to lose your money. So make sure to at least 10% is a good thing, maybe 20, but make sure not to put, you can't put more than 30, but I suggest to start out with maybe 10% is a good thing. And then you can put the rest in the medium risk and low risk. And even though in these 3 different profiles, you can still change a little bit the risk profile within these 3. So that gives you much more flexibility. News coming up from the company is that some think this might be a little bit too difficult anyway and too complicated, and it's all supposed to be easy. So it seems like they're working on a new version of the Elite product that might be a bit more easy. Let's see. But for now, this is actually how it looks. Good. So that was the product. When you are operating with the Freedom platform, you can follow your investments everywhere. It's designed as SaaS, software as a service on all platforms. That means that as long as you have access to a browser, it could be in your smartphone, tablet, or computer, you can get access to the newest upgraded version of the software always. So you don't need to download anything and have an older version that is not upgraded. You always have access to the newest and fastest. Um, and of course, also there's also an app. You can actually download an app if you want to the smartphone or to the tablet. That works perfectly well, and it looks almost the same as what you see on the software as a service solution or the version of it. So you can follow the investment wherever you are as long as you have access to the internet. That's the key. Good. Then there will, as also part of the high level of transparency, there will be weekly updates from the company every week from the company leaders. And it could be things like what went on last week. Was there anything that was really going down, not looking well? What happened in the market, or what could happen next week, or any kind of investment-based relevant information, and also what goes on behind the scenes. And Freedom, so far, we have everyone that's been involved have seen a tremendously amount of transparency about everything that goes on. So this is very, it provides a lot of trust. But you will get information on a weekly basis. And then if you take all this together and try to wrap up around this. So it is all from Freedom's side about trust and transparency. They are transparent in everything they do. Licenses and documents, etc., which are needed, they are all public available. The investments are completely protected by AI, and the whole setup makes sure that it's much more difficult for them to, let's say, let the trades go wrong or go the wrong direction. They can really, it's all protected in a highly standard. And also you do get options to have member education about the financial markets. And there's, of course, as we just saw, full online control on all platforms. And there's also online support 24/7 whenever you need it. And they are very helpful, these support people, and highly skilled. And then there's a Danish thing. This is something from Danish law, a 14-day full return of investment. So if you don't like what you see within the first 14 days, you can just get it all back. This is something that's known in Denmark, but it's now being implemented in the platform for the whole global market as well. And last but not least, as we just saw, there's also live updates every week, making sure we all know what goes on behind the scene and we're all aware on developments or software solutions and new upcoming products or market trends that might impact our investments, etc. That was a short wrap-up of the Freedom Investment Platform. So I hope the key takeaway again here that this is a very powerful platform, this is a very safe platform, and this is a platform that cannot run away with your money. So, and also, because unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on in the market. So I hope you can see the power of this platform. If you find this interesting, then please contact the person that invited you to this presentation and get them help you to get registered right away. That was all for me. So there will be a short 5 minutes break. And then for those of you who might be interested in also hearing about the affiliate program, then please stay on the line and you can follow that as well. Thank you so much.